John sat on the edge of the cliff, staring at the violet skies of Valora. The wind whispered through the crystal trees below, creating music that no human ears had ever heard before. Every detail of this alien world was sharp in his mind. The shimmering lakes, the floating rocks, and the way the sunlight scattered into colors he had never seen on Earth. But none of it compared to the memory of her Kaelara, the Valoran warrior who had changed his life in a single day. He remembered the first time he saw her. She had appeared from the forest like a shadow of light, her armor glowing faintly in the alien sunlight, her long hair streaming like molten silver behind her. Her eyes were not just green. They shone with a strange, intense fire, a fire that seemed to see right into his soul. At first he had been terrified. Valorans were legendary warriors, and humans were not welcome on their planet. Yet, despite her fearsome appearance, she had saved him. A creature had charged from the crystal forest, enormous and deadly, and she had struck it down before it could touch him. Her hands moved like lightning, her strength terrifying. Yet she carried a grace that made John's heart pound in a way he could never forget. After the battle, when the beast lay defeated, she had looked at him with something he could not name. Gratitude, respect, curiosity, maybe all of it at once. She knelt down, brushing a piece of alien moss from his shoulder, and said softly, "Human, you survived." Not many would. Her voice was melodic, strange, yet it echoed in his memory like a song he had known all his life. They spent that day together, walking through the strange forests, exchanging words in broken language, gestures, and the universal language of understanding. Kaelara had shared stories of her world, tales of honor, battles, and the ancient traditions of the Valoran clans. John had told her about Earth, about his people, their hopes and dreams. Every moment felt suspended in time, as if the universe itself had paused to watch them. And in that short time, a bond had formed, a connection that neither species could fully understand. But then came the day he had to leave. Humans were not allowed to stay on Valora, and the Council of Elders demanded his departure. Kaelara had tried to stop him, her expression a mixture of anger and sorrow, her hand gripping his as if she could physically hold him back from leaving. "Human," she had whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "I will find you again, no matter how long it takes. You have my word." And then, she had turned and disappeared into the crystal forests, leaving John standing alone on a cliff, the wind carrying her words across the violet sky. Years passed. John traveled from world to world, exploring strange planets, seeing wonders beyond imagination. Yet no matter where he went, no matter how many alien civilizations he encountered, Kaelara's image remained with him. He remembered her eyes, her strength, the way she had looked at him like he was more than just a human, like he mattered. Sometimes in the quiet moments he would whisper her name to the stars, hoping she might hear him across the galaxies. Tonight, as he sat alone on the cliff, the wind brushing his face, he felt a strange pulse in the sky, a flicker of light, brief and bright like a heartbeat across the stars. His heart skipped. Could it be? Could she finally have returned? The memory of her hand, her voice, her promise all came rushing back, filling him with a mixture of hope and fear. He had waited for this moment his entire life. Somewhere out there across the endless void of space, Kaelara had never forgotten him, and perhaps, just perhaps, he would finally see her again. John's breath caught in his throat. The stars above shimmered, and the wind seemed to whisper her name. A life-changing reunion was coming, and for the first time in years, hope burned bright in his heart. John's heart pounded as the pulse of light grew stronger in the night sky. He could feel it deep in his chest, a rhythm that matched his own heartbeat. The light grew closer, moving with precision and purpose until the forest ahead began to glow with an unearthly shimmer. The trees bent slightly as if bowing to an unseen force, and the air itself seemed alive. Then he saw it, a ship unlike anything he had ever seen. Its sleek curved surface reflected the stars above, glowing faintly with blue energy. It landed softly, almost silently, on the ground. Dust rose in a gentle cloud around it, sparkling like tiny diamonds in the moonlight. John's knees nearly buckled as the hatch slowly opened, and there she was. Kaelara stepped down, taller and stronger than he remembered. Her armor gleamed with the faint light of her homeworld, and her eyes, those eyes were fixed on him. They were the same green fire, but now tempered with a depth of emotion that made John's throat tight. Relief, longing, and something else, something he could not name, shone from her gaze. "You're here," she said, her voice softer than he remembered, but filled with the same power. I kept my promise. John couldn't move. Words caught in his throat. I thought I'd never see you again. He managed to whisper, his voice trembling. His eyes drank in every detail. The curve of her jaw, the way her hair reflected the starlight, the calm but deadly aura she carried so effortlessly. Kylara took a step forward. You thought I could forget? She asked, a faint smile playing on her lips. Not for a single moment. Every day I searched the stars, wondering if you were alive. If you were waiting for me like I waited for you. John's chest ached with emotion. He had imagined this moment countless times, but nothing could have prepared him for the reality. His mind raced back to that day in the crystal forest, when she had saved him from the beast. He remembered her words, her promise, and now, standing before him, she had made it real. Kylara studied him, her eyes scanning every line of his face as if memorizing him all over again. You've changed, she said quietly, a hint of amusement in her tone. But some things remain the same. You are still human, and yet you are still you. John laughed softly, though tears threatened to spill. I've changed. I've seen worlds you couldn't imagine, but I've never forgotten you. I never could. For a moment the universe seemed to pause. The wind stilled, the stars held their breath, and the forest watched silently. Two beings from different worlds, separated by light years and impossible odds, had finally found each other again. Kylara extended her hand. Come with me, she said. There is much to explain. There are dangers, but also a chance for us to finally be together. John hesitated, overwhelmed by the reality of her presence. Every instinct told him to leap forward, to throw himself into her arms, but a flicker of caution held him back. Dangers? He asked. Kylara's gaze darkened just slightly. Not all who would see me alive wish you well, she said. Her tone was serious now, but there was no fear, only certainty. But together we can face anything. John's hand trembled as he reached out to take hers. The moment their fingers touched, a strange warmth surged through him. A connection that was more than physical. It was a bond that defied species. A reminder that across the vast universe, humanity could leave a mark strong enough to be remembered by even the fiercest alien warrior. I've waited for this day my entire life, John said. Every star, every world. I always hoped I'd see you again. Kylara's smile softened, and for the first time her guard seemed to drop. And now you have, she said. Now we begin again. The forest around them seemed to glow in response, as if the planet itself celebrated their reunion. For John, the stars had never felt closer, the night never more alive. And in that moment, standing beside Kylara, he understood something profound. Human courage, hope, and loyalty could inspire even the most alien heart across the galaxy. The journey was far from over, but for the first time in decades, John felt the stirrings of hope. Kylara had found him, and nothing would ever be the same again. The forest was quiet now, except for the soft rustle of leaves and the distant hum of Valoran wildlife. John and Kylara sat beside a small crystal-clear stream, the water reflecting the stars above. For a moment they just looked at each other, as if trying to memorize the reality of being together again. Then Kylara spoke, her voice heavy with the weight of years. I owe you an explanation, she said. Why I left, why I disappeared, and why I have finally come back. John listened intently, gripping her hand. He could see the pain behind her glowing eyes, the burden she had carried alone for so long. When our clans went to war, I was sent on a mission I could not abandon, Kylara began. It was dangerous, and I knew the chance of returning was slim. But I kept thinking of you, John. Every day, every battle. I remembered your face, your courage, and the promise I made. She paused, her jaw tightening. Many of my people thought you were foolish, a weak human. But I never agreed. You were brave in ways even we cannot measure. John swallowed hard, the emotions swelling inside him. All these years he had feared that she had forgotten him, or that their connection had been one-sided. But now, hearing her words, he realized the truth. Their bond had survived not just time, but the void of space itself. Why now? John asked softly. Why did you finally come? Kylara's gaze shifted to the stars above. The war is over, at least for my people. The hunters, the ones loyal to the old ways, they are still out there. I needed to make sure you were safe before I came for you. I could not risk losing you, not after everything. John's chest tightened. The thought of her facing danger alone, thinking of him. filled him with guilt and awe. All these years. You carried me in your heart, he whispered. Kalara nodded. Yes, and I saw your life from afar through the signals, through the worlds you visited. You survived. You thrived. And still, I never forgot you. Every place I went, I searched for a sign of you. John felt tears sting his eyes. He had waited for decades, and now here she was, revealing that she had been waiting too. Their connection was stronger than he could have imagined, a bond that transcended species, planets, and time. I never thought I'd find anyone who could understand me like you did, John said. Even among humans, even on Earth, I never felt the same. Kalara smiled faintly, the glow of her eyes softening. And yet here we are. Against all odds, the universe brought us back together. You are proof, John. Proof that humans have something extraordinary. Your hope, your heart, your courage. It reaches across the stars. John looked down, feeling both pride and humility. He had always known humans were capable of great things, but hearing it from her, a being from a world far beyond his own, made it feel real. He was more than just a survivor. He was a symbol of humanity's resilience. The moment was interrupted by a faint rumble in the distance, a reminder that danger had not vanished entirely. Kalara tensed, her warrior instincts returning. We must be careful, she said. There are still those who would stop me from being here, who would see you hurt because of me. John squeezed her hand. We face it together, he said firmly. Whatever comes, we face it together. Kalara's eyes softened, a rare vulnerability showing. I feared I would have to fight alone forever, but now you are here, and I am not afraid. The night air wrapped around them, carrying the scent of alien flowers and the faint hum of Valoran life. In that quiet under the stars, John understood something profound. Humanity's true strength was not just in weapons or technology, but in courage, loyalty, and the bonds it formed. Even an alien warrior, a being of immense power and honor, could be moved by the heart of one human. Kalara leaned closer, resting her head lightly against his shoulder. We survived, she whispered. We found each other again. John closed his eyes, feeling the warmth of her presence. The past, the distance, the fears, they all melted away. What remained was connection, hope, and the promise of a future they would face together. The stars above seemed brighter, as if celebrating the reunion of two souls from different worlds, united by fate, courage, and an unbreakable bond. The night had grown darker, the forest shadows stretching long and strange under the twin moons of Valora. John and Kalara moved carefully, staying close to the stream where the soft sounds of running water masked their footsteps. Despite the joy of reunion, a weight pressed on them both. Kalara's expression was tense, her eyes scanning every shadow, every flicker of movement. They're here, she whispered, her voice low but firm. John's stomach tightened. Who? He asked. Kalara's jaw clenched. Hunters. Loyalists to my old clan. They don't want me to leave Valora alive, and they don't care who else gets caught in the crossfire. John's heart pounded. For years he had only feared losing her to distance or time. Now danger was real and immediate, closing in faster than he could have imagined. What do we do? He asked. Kalara looked at him, her glowing eyes sharp. We survive. Together. Like we promised. Suddenly, a faint hum vibrated through the air, the unmistakable sound of energy weapons activating. Shadows darted between the trees faster than any human could move. Kalara drew her blade, the alien metal glowing faintly, reflecting her fierce determination. Stay behind me, she ordered. And remember everything I taught you about staying alive. John's hands shook, but he nodded. He was no soldier, no warrior. Yet he felt a strange calm settle over him. Kalara's presence was a shield, and their bond gave him courage he had never known. Together they moved like a single unit, ducking behind rocks and using the forest for cover. The first volley of energy blasts streaked past them, tearing through the trees with sizzling light. Kalara moved like a storm, her blade slicing through obstacles and disarming attackers with precision and strength beyond human capacity. John followed her lead, using makeshift weapons and clever distractions to help slow the hunters. Each moment was terrifying yet exhilarating. He realized the universe had tested humans in many ways, but facing danger with someone you loved, someone who believed in you, was a trial like no other. Human, Kalara shouted over the roar of battle. Don't hesitate. Move! John leapt, barely avoiding a blast, and landed behind a tree, catching his breath. His fear was still there, but so was determination. He could not lose her, not now, not ever. They fought side by side through the alien forest. The hunters were relentless, but Kalara's skill and John's quick thinking gave them an edge. At one point, John spotted a narrow canyon and whispered to her, "We can trap them there." Kalara nodded, her eyes fierce. Together, they drew the hunters into the trap, forcing them to retreat one by one. By the time dawn began to break over the horizon, the forest was quiet again. The hunters had vanished, leaving only the remnants of their attack, scorched leaves, broken branches, and the faint smell of energy discharge. John leaned against a tree, exhausted but alive. Kalara approached him, her armor dented, her hair messy, yet her eyes still burned with that familiar fire. "You never ran," she said quietly, almost in awe. Most humans would have panicked. John laughed softly, though his chest heaved. "I never forgot you," he said, "and I never will. That's why I stayed." Kalara studied him, her gaze softening. "You are remarkable," she said. "You are more than I ever imagined. Your courage, your heart. It saved us both tonight." For a brief moment, they allowed themselves to breathe, to feel the relief of surviving together. But John knew the danger was not completely gone. Kalara's enemies were still out there, watching, waiting. Yet despite the fear, he felt a fierce pride. Humans were fragile compared to Velerans, but their hearts, their loyalty and courage, could defy the odds. The rising sun painted the forest in golden light, and John turned to Kalara. "We can face anything as long as we are together," he said firmly. Kalara smiled, a rare, gentle smile, and took his hand. The danger had passed for now, but the bond between them had only grown stronger. In that quiet forest, with the first light of a new day, they realized something profound. The universe could throw any challenge at a human, and with courage, heart, and loyalty, even a single human could change the course of destiny. John and Kalara walked side by side through the alien forest, stronger, closer, and ready for whatever came next. The forest was quiet now, but John and Kalara knew it was only the calm before the storm. The hunters would not give up so easily. They had survived the first attack, but the danger still lurked, hidden among the shadows. Kalara's eyes scanned the horizon, glowing faintly in the early morning light, while John followed her movements closely. Every step, every breath felt heavy with anticipation. "They won't stop until they get what they want," Kalara said, her voice low and serious. "And if they find you, I won't forgive myself." John looked at her, determination shining in his eyes. "Then I'll fight too," he said. "Not just for me, but for you. We face this together." Kalara studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "Good, then stay close. Trust me." The first wave of attackers came like shadows, silent and deadly. Kalara moved with unmatched precision, her alien blade cutting through the air, deflecting energy blasts and striking with lethal force. John followed her lead, using the environment to his advantage, dropping rocks, creating distractions, and guiding them toward narrow paths where the hunters could not move freely. "You're faster than I expected for a human," Kalara said during a brief pause, her eyes scanning for more threats. John laughed, though sweat dripped down his face. "I've learned from the best," he said, nodding toward her. Her eyes softened for a moment, and a flicker of a smile appeared on her face. The fight continued, bursts of energy and flashes of light filling the forest. John realized something he had not understood before. Humanity's strength was not in sheer power or weapons, but in courage, creativity, and loyalty. Every move he made was guided by his desire to protect her, and in turn, Kalara's skill protected him. Together, they formed a bond stronger than any weapon. At one point, a hunter lunged at John from behind a tree. Kalara reacted instantly, knocking him aside with a swift kick, her strength incredible but precise. "Focus!" she shouted. "Use the terrain." John rolled behind a rock, then sprang up, tossing a heavy branch toward another attacker. The hunter tripped, giving Kalara the opening she needed. In moments, they had neutralized several of the hunters, but John knew more were coming. They moved toward a narrow canyon, the perfect place for a trap. John whispered his plan, and Kalara nodded. "Good thinking. We'll end this together." The hunters followed, unaware of the danger ahead. Kalara waited for the right moment, then signaled. With coordinated precision, they forced the hunters into the canyon, where the terrain slowed them down and gave John and Kalara the advantage. The battle reached its climax as the last hunters struggled to escape. Kailara's blade shone brightly in the early sunlight, her movements fluid and unstoppable. John used every skill he had learned from the environment and from her, guiding the attacker into positions where they could be disarmed or trapped. At last, the hunters retreated, defeated but alive, disappearing into the distant forest. John collapsed onto a rock, exhausted and covered in sweat and scratches. Kailara approached him, her armor dented and her hair tangled, but her eyes still burned with that familiar fire. "You never ran," she said quietly, almost in awe. Most humans would have panicked. John smiled, though he was barely able to catch his breath. "I never forgot you," he said. "That's why I stayed." Kailara studied him, her gaze softening. "Your courage, your heart. It saved us both tonight," she said. For the first time, she allowed herself to show vulnerability, leaning slightly toward him. "Humans, you are extraordinary." John reached for her hand. "And you, Kailara, are unstoppable, but even the strongest warrior is stronger with someone who believes in them." They sat together in the canyon, watching the sun rise over the alien forest, the air still vibrating with the echoes of the fight. The danger had passed for now, but the bond between them had only grown stronger. John understood something profound. The universe could test humans in ways unimaginable, but with courage, loyalty, and love, they could rise above any challenge. As the first rays of sunlight touched Kailara's glowing armor, John realized that this battle was not just about survival. It was about proving that humanity could inspire even the most alien warriors, leaving a mark across the stars that could never be erased. And in that moment, side by side with Kailara, he knew that whatever came next, they would face it together, fearless and united. The forest had finally settled into silence. The echoes of battle were gone, replaced by the soft sounds of alien birds and the gentle ripple of the stream beside them. John and Kailara sat together on a fallen tree, their bodies tired but their spirits alive with a new, deeper understanding. The adrenaline from the fight had faded, leaving room for something far more powerful: connection. Kailara's glowing eyes softened as she looked at John. "I never believed I'd see you again," she said quietly, almost as if speaking to herself. "I feared that years, distance, and duty would make me forget. But here you are, and it feels like no time has passed at all." John reached for her hand, feeling the warmth and strength in her touch. "I've waited for this moment my whole life," he admitted. "Every world I visited, every star I crossed, I hoped I would see you again. And now I have." Kailara's expression changed, a rare vulnerability breaking through her warrior exterior. "Every day I fought, every challenge I faced, I kept thinking of you. You gave me hope when all seemed lost. Even when I was alone, I felt your presence. It reminded me why I could not give up." John felt tears prick his eyes. He had spent decades feeling small in a vast, uncaring universe, yet here was Kailara, telling him that his courage, his very existence, had mattered to her. It was more than emotional. It was transformative. Humans, he realized, could touch lives across worlds, could inspire hope in the hearts of beings far stronger and stranger than themselves. "Kailara," John said softly, "humans may be fragile compared to your people, but we have something that even the strongest warrior cannot resist: loyalty, hope, and the courage to stand for those we care about. I hope I gave you strength too." Kailara's eyes glimmered with emotion. "You gave me more than strength," she whispered. "You reminded me of why life is worth fighting for. You reminded me that love, courage, and hope are stronger than any weapon or army." They sat in silence for a moment, letting their words sink in. The warmth of the morning sun touched their faces, and the alien forest seemed to hum in quiet approval, as if acknowledging the bond that had been reforged across galaxies. John leaned closer, feeling the steady pulse of her presence beside him. "I never imagined that a human and a Valoran could find something like this," he said, almost in disbelief. "But here we are. Against all odds, we survived. Together." Kailara's lips curved into a faint, genuine smile. "Together," she repeated. She rested her head lightly on his shoulder, a gesture that seemed so fragile yet so full of trust. "I feared I would always have to carry my burdens alone, but now we share them. You are not just part of my memories, John. You are here, with me." The intimacy of the moment was humbling. John realized that humanity's greatest power was not its technology or its reach across the stars, but its heart, the ability to form bonds, to inspire loyalty, and to love without limits. Kalara, for all her warrior prowess, had been touched by that humanity, just as he had been changed by her courage and devotion. "I promise," John whispered. "Whatever comes next, I will never leave your side. We face everything together, Kalara. You and I." Kalara lifted her head, meeting his gaze fully. Her eyes glowed brighter, not with battle, but with trust and connection. "Then we walk forward together, human," she said. "No fear, no regrets, just us, and the stars that guide us." As the sun rose higher, painting the crystal forest in gold and violet, they stood side by side. The world around them was vast and uncertain, but they no longer faced it alone. The bond they shared, a mix of love, respect, and unwavering loyalty, was proof that humans could touch lives even across galaxies and inspire courage in hearts that once seemed untouchable. In that quiet forest, John understood something profound. Humanity's power was not in dominance but in connection, and Kalara had felt it as deeply as he had, across every light year that had separated them. They walked together toward the horizon, ready for whatever challenge awaited, bound by trust, hope, and a love that could survive even the most distant stars. The forest was bathed in the warm glow of the rising sun, the crystal trees shimmering like gold and violet. John and Kalara walked side by side, their hands brushing, their hearts beating in quiet harmony. The danger had passed, but the memory of it lingered. Every scar, every fear reminded them of what they had survived and what they had gained together. Kalara stopped and turned to face him, her glowing eyes reflecting both strength and tenderness. "Human," she said softly, "I never forgot you. Every battle, every star, I searched for you. And now that I have found you, I will not leave again." John felt a warmth spread through his chest. The words he had longed to hear for decades were finally here, spoken with truth and certainty. "Kalara," he whispered, "I waited for you. Every day, every moment. I never gave up hope because I knew you would come back." She reached for him, their hands locking together, the connection stronger than ever. "You proved something to me," Kalara continued, her voice steady and full of conviction. "Even across galaxies, even against impossible odds, humans are not weak. Your heart, your courage, your loyalty, it is extraordinary. You are proof that humanity can leave a mark across the stars, a mark that even the strongest warriors cannot forget." John's throat tightened with emotion. "And you, Kalara, you are my proof that love, hope, and courage can cross any distance. I never imagined that someone from another world could become so important to me. But here you are, and I will never let you go." Kalara smiled, a rare, soft smile that revealed a side of her few had ever seen. She removed her armor, letting it clink softly onto the forest floor, revealing the strength and vulnerability beneath. "I was afraid once," she admitted. "Afraid that I would always fight alone, that no one could understand me, that no one could match the weight of my battles. But now I know. You are here, and together we are unstoppable." John stepped closer, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "We face everything together, Kalara. No more waiting, no more fear. Just you and me against whatever the universe throws at us." Her eyes glimmered with emotion, a mixture of joy, relief, and determination. "Yes," she said. "Together." The sun climbed higher, painting the forest in golden light. The alien world around them felt alive, as if celebrating the union of two beings from completely different worlds. Birds sang, the wind danced through the crystal trees, and even the distant mountains seemed to glow in approval. Kalara leaned her head on John's shoulder, and for the first time in decades, both of them allowed themselves to feel complete peace. They had survived separation, war, and danger. They had crossed galaxies, fought battles, and tested their courage. And now they had found each other, not just as allies or friends, but as two hearts bound together, stronger than any force in the universe. John looked out at the horizon, his heart full. "I used to think humans were small, fragile, and weak compared to the universe. But now I see, our strength is in hope, in courage, and in love. We can reach across the stars and leave a mark that nothing can erase, just like we did, just like we found each other." Kalara smiled again, tightening her hand around his. "Then let us leave our mark together, human. Let us step into the unknown and show the universe what humans and our bond can truly do." With that, They began to walk forward, leaving the forest behind, stepping toward the wide expanse of the alien world, the rising sun guiding their path. Every step was a promise of love, trust, courage, and loyalty, a promise that no war, no distance, and no time could ever break. And as they walked side by side, the universe seemed to acknowledge them, a human and a Valoran, united, unstoppable, and unforgettable. They had survived the impossible, proven the power of humanity, and found something even greater than victory: each other. For John, Kay Lara,